continues in the tsunami-affected areas of Japan, and for survivors, life does go on, but you might be surprised how.
A year ago, fire and water changed Kasenama, Japan. A year later, the crumpled buildings are mostly gone, but a giant ship still sits on the land side of the highway, a crushed car underneath. Signs of reconstruction in this town unnoticeable to me, but life does go on. In Kasenama and other tsunami-affected areas, you'll find these. People live in them, others work in them. In order to get businesses up and running as quickly as possible, the local government put up these temporary buildings. There are all kinds of merchants here, a salon, a barber, clothing, restaurant, and they can operate here for 3 years. They're essentially shipping containers retrofitted. A collection is placed together to make a makeshift food court. This one in Ofunato. This woman's shoreside restaurant and home were swept away. She set up shop here in November to serve up oden, a Japanese winter dish. The locals appreciate the warm food and company. Setsuko Abe lives with her husband and adult daughter in this temporary housing facility in Minami Sanriku. The one-bedroom, one-bath with a living room and kitchen is about the size of a 2-car garage. A couple of friends fill up the space quickly. She wants a real home someday, but she prefers this tight fit to the evacuation center where she lived immediately after the tsunami. Here, she can have company when she wants it. There's a common room where she makes these little dolls. More on that another time.
Those dolls are called Hime Daruma, which means princess dolls. And I just want to point out, I just thought it was so interesting. So these business owners that lost their businesses and the buildings that were in there. So they took these shipping containers, they retrofit them, they put in, stoves and sinks and whatnot. She doesn't have to pay rent. That restaurant owner we saw, she doesn't actually have to pay rent. She has to pay like an association fee for that little kind of food court thing, and she has to pay for utilities. But it's just interesting that the local government put that in so they can at least start to make their money back again and also serve the public, because there are so many new people that are in these cities thanks to reconstruction and cleanup.
But what kind of time frame are we looking at for someone like that woman we just saw? They're going to be living in that way for years, I presume.
Well, you're talking about the last woman, the mature, more older woman. Yeah. She really doesn't know when she'll be able to move into a real home, and she's worried because in Minami Sanriku, they want all the people to live up the hill, you know, away from any more danger.
The coast,
And she says, I'm in my 70s or however old she is now, and she wants to be right in the town so she can just walk and, come back. And, it's not really clear whether or not they'll be allowed to do that. And as you've pointed out, I mean, a lot of these areas, they just really haven't gotten started in planning for reconstruction. They might have a plan, but nobody's certainly has broken ground.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, we talked about this. We've had our earthquakes here, and they've been terrible, but I don't think we can even comprehend the scale of the disaster there.
Oh, well, you pointed out how many thousands of people lost their lives, and that means how many more thousands have had their lives affected by losing family members. I talked to a couple of tsunami survivors. They're young kids. They're 18 years old. They both lost their fathers. The organization that helped them out, they wanted to call them orphans. They're not really orphans because they have their mothers still, but the fathers were both the breadwinners. So the problem is the family is greatly affected. Yeah, well, luckily for them, they got a couple of grants from this group called Ashinaga. But other than that, they've got to try to find their way.
And Japan is a fairly wealthy country, so the government has the resources to help.
As opposed to Haiti, as opposed to Haiti. But that being said, the country has also been in sort of economic distress for some time. So I mean, it's not like it's there's money everywhere. Yeah, they're very, very thankful for people who have made donations and the relief workers who've come in. And I should point out, there's apparently a documentary at the AMC Burbank that somebody pointed out to me, Pray for Japan, and they said it was well worth seeing. So, and they were hoping for a wider release. So that might be something worth seeing.
Yeah, next weekend
that might be
we'll
good.
put it on.
Yeah, that might be good.
All right, thank you.
All right, so